Alright, Pilipinas, ayon sa World Bank sa kanilang pag-aaral noong 2013, umabot na sa mahigit 700 na katao sa buong mundo ang nasa level ng extreme poverty o namumuhay lamang ng $1.90 per day.
Alam mo, Jules, tama yan. Majority nga niyan ay nasa less developed countries or less developing countries gaya ng Pilipinas. Kung kaya't ganun na lamang po katindi na ibahin ng United Nations Development Program o matigil ang extreme poverty by 2030.
So to know more about this and to talk about the Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, we have here live in the studio the Policy Specialist of Agenda 2013 SDGs from the Asia Pacific Regional Center, United Nations Development Program. It's all welcome, Hani Meisters.
Good morning. Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Welcome to Bagong Pilipinas.
Welcome
to the Philippines.
Thank you so much.
All right, to start off, let's talk about, actually, United Nations has adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goals. We want to know, that is aiming actually to transform the world in the next 15 years. What is SGD?
SDGs?
Yes.
Sustainable Development Goals. Long title for something that's actually quite simple because it's about a vision for a better world for everybody. These goals talk about poverty, ending poverty everywhere. They talk about education, as it is Teachers' Day today, quality education for everyone, but they also talk about more difficult subjects such as sustainable consumption, meaning that even you and I need to reduce our consumption of plastics, drive electrical cars. So it's a very broad vision that actually all member states of the UN adopted 2 years ago, including the Philippines. And the idea is that if we achieve these goals, then we'll have a better world for ourselves and for the next generation.
Alright, so actually you are here in the Philippines for the Regional Knowledge Exchange, which was held in Makati some days ago. So let's talk about this event. What is the main output of this event for the Asia Pacific region?
The idea of this event was that sustainable development is actually quite a difficult concept because we talk about interrelated goals, we talk about trade-offs. You can't continue the same economic growth without damaging the environment. So how do we deal with that? And I think each country in this region or in the world is struggling with this. So the aim of this knowledge exchange was to bring a number of countries together, governments, but also other stakeholders, civil society, youth, private sector, to talk about how we do that, to share experiences, good practices.
Besides that, tell us more about the current programs that you are doing right now.
Current programs. So my work is actually about helping governments in the region figure out how to deal with this agenda, how to deal with these sustainable development goals at their national level, at their subnational level, and even at community level. But the UNDP more broadly and the UN also does programs on peace and security, poverty reduction, climate change, which I know is also a big issue for here in the Philippines.
Okay. The SDGs were launched in 2015. That was 2 years ago. So now we still have 13 years left before 2030. So yes. I know the UNDP is really busy all over the world to mainstream the SDGs. So you are also launching the ASEAN My World survey. So let's talk more about this. How do you think will this project will be able to engage everyone in the ASEAN so that everyone will be involved in this quest?
Yeah, I'm actually very excited about this. The My World survey was, the first one was in 2015 or in the run-up to 2015, where people around the world could give their priorities for the future. And their priorities through this My World survey were actually fed into the intergovernmental process and led to these sustainable development goals. Specifically, a goal around peace and security would not have gotten into this agenda if it wasn't for the My World survey. So now we have a new survey and one specifically tailored for ASEAN, again, to let people determine what they find most important and how they think their governments are doing on these goals. And the idea is that this survey will help engage people, raise their awareness about the sustainable development goals, but also hold their governments and the private sector and other partners accountable for reaching these goals.
All right. Everybody needs to do their part for us to reach this Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, the private sector, the government, even the people. What do you think can we do to help or in our own little way?
Well, not little. Everybody has a huge contribution to make, and those can be various depending on where you sit, I think, on the development scale. For you and I, it means not buying our Starbucks cups in plastic anymore, or doing less flying, buying an electrical car, and raising awareness. I think that is really a role that you here also, and I know Jules is part of the 2030 Youth Force already, to raise awareness more broadly. And I think we also have a role in reminding people that this agenda is there, and again, keeping governments accountable, asking them questions. How are you doing? How are you addressing these goals?
Of course, still in connection with the SGD, can you tell us more about the hashtag Leave No One Behind campaign?
Leave no one behind is, I think, one of the most critical concepts. This agenda is for everyone, for developed countries, for developing countries, but also for any person. And the problem we had with previous development agendas is that they only looked at averages. So it was about poverty reduction, but at an average level, meaning that a lot of people didn't benefit. They didn't benefit from development efforts. And now with this sustainable development agenda, this new agenda, we're saying development needs to reach everybody, meaning your ethnic minorities, your migrants, everybody. And that's what this hashtag campaign is also about.
Okay, so everyone's really needed to be involved in this quest. By the way, speaking of leaving no one behind you, we are showing right now some visuals on the ASEAN My World survey. So of course, it all boils down first to making everyone aware about the SDGs. So let's go back to this survey. How can everyone access this website, and how can they answer the survey?
Very easy. You can just go to the website, which is asean.myworld2030.org. Fill it in. It will take you at most 2 minutes. And then I'd say share it with your friends on Twitter, on any other social media. And that's a way to let everybody know what your priorities are.
But would you know the current status of people here in the ASEAN? How many people are aware now about the SDGs? Would you have data?
No, sorry, I don't have data on that. It's still a little early.
That's why it's important that we help spread and raise awareness about.
Exactly.
So we're encouraging everybody to support and answer the survey through their program. All right, do you have any message to our viewers before we let you go?
Maybe the big message, I'm very excited to be here in the Philippines. I think the Philippines has such a big role to play in this agenda. Everybody here in the Philippines, so I really hope through this everybody will engage.
And we assure you that the 700 million youth of the Asia Pacific will be helping out to make sure that in 2030 the SDGs will be achieved. Thank you so much.
Because this is your agenda.
Thank you so much. Ayan, Jules, sana supportahan natin, no? Mag-raise tayo ng awareness. This is really important. 17 goals to be targeted for the next 15 years. Sana ma-succeed natin, no? By Agenda 2030, this is to ensure hunger, achieve food security and improve nutrition, and syempre promote agriculture, at syempre ensure healthy lives and promote well-being.
That's right. Once again, we have here in the studio a policy specialist from the Agenda 2030 and SDGs from the Asia Pacific Regional Center United Nations Development Program. Thank you so much, Hani Meesters.